Christina, nice to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Can you see me? I am not pinned though. So let me pin myself so I can see to make sure that you are. There we go. Okay. And sorry, there is some natural sunlight coming in. I live by the ocean and not used to doing a cooking class this early in the morning in my kitchen. So I'm Christina Martin. I live in New Jersey, and I want to thank Anat and also Clara for asking me to be on the forum. I've been listening for a few years now, and I'll give you a little bit of background about myself before we go into the demo today. I changed my diet back in 2000 when I got pregnant with my daughter. I was an accountant. I have a degree in accounting, but it wasn't until I turned 38 that I went into culinary. I got my culinary degree. I wanted to get out of high school, but my parents said, no way. And at that point, you always listen to your parents. So I had my daughter in 2000. I cleaned up my diet. I met a woman who had cancer who was on a macrobiotic diet. She introduced me to a CSA. And in 2005, I met Christina and became a demo assistant for her. So I worked on her classes behind the scenes, making the food that she did for her demos. I learned a whole lot from her, but I still never went fully macro. That was back in 2005. Then I finished culinary school and I went to work for restaurants, mostly vegan in Philadelphia, all vegan in Philadelphia, actually. And at that point, my diet was vegan. I was about 40 years old. I suffered with anxiety since my 20s. And actually it wasn't until recently, till I changed my diet again, that I've got it totally, basically under control. And everybody hear me okay? Okay. So I worked with a bunch of different macrobiotic counselors actually over the years. I've taken David Briscoe and Cynthia Briscoe's course and for both counselor and chef training. So I have both of those. And but I'm actually a high school culinary teacher. I teach all kinds of foods to the kids, but they see me eat my miso soup. And actually the other day I put mochi in a waffle maker and the kids wanted to try it. And so I wound up giving it to them instead of eating it. But so I try to introduce, as much as I can, healthy eating at school, even though we have traditional culinary meals that we make. Today, I'm going to show you what to do with leftovers when we have lots of grain, because we eat a lot of grain on a macro diet. So these are leftover buckwheat and my leftover rice. And I'm going to also show from start to finish how I do my rice and buckwheat. And then I'm going to make two different dishes, which I'm going to send Anat the recipe. One is a, traditionally it's called kasha varnishkas. But this is my total take on it. So it's a little bit changed up. And then I'm going to do a tostado, something that you can do a leftover grain. It makes a really nice weekday meal. I work and I don't get home till a little bit later. And like I said, I have two kids. My daughter is 22. She lives in Guam. Her boyfriend is in the Air Force. And I haven't seen her since July. So that's been really hard. But she calls me almost every day. And yesterday we talked all about what she can cook and what foods are there and how she can make them, healthy meals for her and him. My son is 18. He's graduating from high school. So I'm going to be going through the empty nester syndrome soon. And so that's given me a lot of anxiety as well. But the one thing that I've really learned about with anxiety is, and I've tried everything, I was diagnosed with IBS years ago, is I had taken salt out of my diet for a long time. And I was getting very muscle weakness and the anxiety was getting worse. And I added it back in and I've 99% changed by adding the salt back into my diet. So, and also I suck on kombu too, that helps calm me down as well. So I don't have to take any kind of drugs for it, but it was a daily thing that I was really struggling with. Okay, so.
Well, Christina, I would ask you just to make that's such an important point about the use of salt, the judicious, not too much, not too little. It's so important.
Yes, the right amount. And I had taken it all out because my parents suffer with heart disease. My mom needed triple bypass. My dad had a heart attack. my aunt had, high blood pressure, all that stuff is all in my family. And they have all taken, my aunt completely took the salt out because the doctor's like, take the salt out. I was eating like tortilla chips with no salt. Like and then I couldn't even walk up a step. Like I couldn't lift my leg. My muscles were so weak. Between that and not eating enough quantity of food was my issue. And what I tell people is, and I don't counsel, but you have to do what's right for your constitution or what's going on in your body. You can't follow what I eat because I have these symptoms and you might have these symptoms and you need to do XYZ to combat that. But the salt is so important. And I follow a lot of vegan. I was involved in a lot of vegan groups and stuff, and they do that no salt, no oil, no sugar, I don't know what's left to eat, but it can really destroy you. And for me, I really think that the lack of salt really hurt my muscles. And I can see the difference when I add it back in, that I'm getting stronger, and that it also helps calm me down. It keeps that balance. And I mean, the anxiety was at a 10. There were days where I was at a 10. And I can say now I'm like, some days I'm 1 or 2, some days I don't even have it. So, and miso soup as much as I can, because I'm not a big soup eater. Eating grains, even at work, because I only have a 20-minute lunch, I take leftover grain, I put a little earth balance with it, heat it up on the gas stove, and eat little bits of it. So that's what I've been doing. But as far as what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun with leftovers. I've never been a big fan of leftovers. I know in macrobiotics, it's not a thing to have leftovers, but when we make, this is 1 cup of, this one's brown rice. This is what 1 cup makes. So I'm not eating this all in one day. So, I want to do something with it. So that's why I'm going to show you these 2 dishes that you can make with the leftovers. So we're going to start with brown rice first. And I soak my brown rice. So I have it soaking here. Soak it for 24 hours would be the best, but any soaking you can do is good. It gets out the toxins. I don't use the soaking water because I find that there's, toxins and stuff in there that I don't want. I'm going to rinse it out. I don't know if you can see me. Hopefully you can. Okay, and so then I cook it. I know we have pressure cookers and we can cook it in a pot, but I love cooking it in this Denobi kind of pot. And this is a clay pot that I got on Amazon, and Denny Waxman actually was the one who recommended this for me years ago. So I've been using it ever since. I love it. There's 2 little lines in here. One is you put the rice in up to the first line. And then to the second line, which is probably about 1 cup of water, is going to go in above it.
Can you tip the pot so we could see inside?
Yeah. Well, I can try it. So as you can see, there's a line for the rice, and then there's a line for the water. So I have to go a little bit more water. So truly, that's about 2 cups of water in there. Can you see that, Claire?
And
That's
what
gonna
type
go-
of rice are you using?
That's organic short grain brown rice. You can do it with I've done long grain in here too. So I either do brown or long grain or short grain brown rice. So I'm going to add to that my 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to give that a stir. And then I'm going to put the lid on. Now it comes with 2 lids. And they have 2 holes in them, the lids, one there, one there. So I'm going to line them up with the handles. And then I'm going to put it on. Oops, medium.
And this is called the Donabe pot?
Nabi pot. Yep, and I got it on
Mhm.
Amazon.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put that on medium until I start seeing a little bit of steam come out of here. When I start seeing steam, which would be really, it's coming to a boil if you were just doing it in a pot, or then I'm gonna turn this, the top of the lid, so that the hole is on this side. And then we're gonna set a timer for 20 minutes. So it's gonna be kind of interactive because one of you is gonna set a timer for me. All right, so while the rice is cooking, and that's gonna be for my tostada, I'm gonna show you how to do the buckwheat. And I guess I have the tiniest kitchen, to be honest with you. Okay. Our buckwheat, and I store my grains in just a glass jar like this on the counter. And I have my staple grains. I have my buckwheat, my millet, and my brown rice, and I do keep oats up on there as well. And
Did you need to season the donabi pot before you began using it?
you can season it. Just rub a little oil in it.
And put it on the fire.
Yep, and then put it on the fire. I actually had to season my cast iron last night. Because I went to make the caramelized onions, which we're gonna do, and I had a little rust in my cast iron. I hadn't used it in a little while, so I seasoned that last night. I'm gonna get some water. Actually, I get some water to boil for our buckwheat, and that's 2 1/4 cups of water. So we're gonna get that to boil while we toast the buckwheat. So our rice is on. We're working on the next grain, which is the buckwheat, and I toast it, dry roast it.
Is the buckwheat brown or green? Brown. So am I wrong that the brown is already toasted? The brown is toasted green buckwheat?
That's what I was thinking when I bought the bag, but it's not, doesn't say toasted on it. So I bought it at the health food store. So I just toasted some more because it releases that flavor, and it browns it just a little bit more. But you're right, I cannot find here green
Uh-huh.
in our health food stores. So we're also going to add the salt to that as well. So that's also 1/4 teaspoon of salt while we toast it. Really? And you want to continuously stir this. Yeah, so I guess if you can find the green, all the better, but for this one, I don't have the packaging for it, but it doesn't say that it's pre-toasted.
Mhm.
What type of salt do you like to use?
So I've been using this one, the real salt. Now I also have SI salt. A lot of people use that. I have it in the closet, but I seem to like this one better. Really gonna go on, we're gonna- Okay. Over there. Take him there. Thank you. Sorry, my son's leaving. Gotta go out.
Bye.
We can say goodbye to him.
Andrew, come here. Say hi real quick, please. Oh, put your head down, it's fine. He works at a bakery here in on the island.
Oh.
This is Andrew,
Ah, hello, hello.
and he is
Bye-bye.
dairy free. He realizes that eating dairy affects his face. So that's one way to get him dairy free. But my kids have eaten Earth Balance since they were little. They've never had real butter. Because Christina Pearl always used that, and that's what I use, and that's what they grew up on. So, but they still eat meat. I just cook a bunch of veggies on the side. So our rice is back here. It's not yet ready. The buckwheat is toasting some more, and my water's boiling for the buckwheat.
Did you want the 20 minutes timer from when you said or from when it boils?
No, for when it boils.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now I can really smell this. I know you guys can't, but I can really smell it. That's what you're looking for, a really nice aroma. And you have to stir it constantly because you do not want it to burn. And Gana, if anybody asks questions, you'll have to answer. Let me know, but I can't read this far away, the screen.
Will do. Will do.
It just smelled so good. Last night, the house smelled so good with all the grains I cooked and the onions. Although my son was complaining, we went to sleep and it was like all I could smell was caramelized onions.
I think I smell it. Yeah.
What's that?
I smell it. I smell
Yeah.
the butt
Oh, it
grease.
smells so good. So once this water's almost boiling, and usually I do it the length of the water boiling, it kind of works well that way. Yeah. No, bring him down, he's fine. It's fine, bring him down. Okay. Gonna put that on medium. Water's boiling, so we're gonna throw that into our buckwheat. We're gonna put a lid on it. We're gonna put it on medium. I cracked the lid a little bit to let the steam out. And we're gonna let that cook probably the same length of this, about 20 minutes, and we'll check it. This is almost yeah, I'll turn this up a little. I guess I had it on a little low. You want it on medium high for the rice. So now both of our grains are cooking. Next up is we're going to boil some water for the pasta.
There's a question how you wash that pot that you're cooking the rice in.
Just rinse it with water. It wipes right out. It really, the rice doesn't really stick that to it. I just use some warm water and wash that out, kind of like you would do with the cast iron. I'm going to put a pot of water on with a pinch of salt for the pasta. So you can use any kind of pasta in this dish for the buckwheat dish. Bow ties would be best. I personally don't eat gluten. About 2 or 3 years ago, I stopped eating it because I found that it really messed with my anxiety, but I'm working to get it back into my diet. So right now I do gluten-free. So they didn't have bow ties, so I'm going to do these bonza, which are made from chickpeas. These are little shells. So any kind of pasta that you like can go in this dish. So we're going to have our water boil. I'm going to put a lid on that so that boils faster. We're waiting for our rice to come up. And the buckwheat's on. So we have a bunch of stuff cooking right now. The next thing we're going to do is our onions. So I'm going to cut some onion for you. So I use a Nakiri kind of knife. Whatever's fits best in your hand is what you should get. That's what I tell my students too. This is from Corin Knife Shop in New York. I've had this for about, oh my gosh, probably almost 20 years, I guess. I just keep it maintained, keep it sharp, and I use it for everything. So, and everybody's going to cut an onion different, no matter what cooking class you see. Everybody has their own style, and it all winds up in the same thing, cutting it up. So you have the root and the stem. I take the stem off so to make a flat surface, and then I just go to the center. And then I'm gonna peel it. And then I have a garden outside, so I compost all of this, or you can save it. You can put it in a freezer bag and put it in the freezer and save it for stock or make stock later. So I'm going to use a whole onion for this dish. And I'm going to start the caramelizing process. And then I have them already finished off. So we're going to do like a little TV magic swapping out. Since we just have an hour, and I'm going to try my best to get 2 dishes done in 1 hour.
I love a teacher who's prepared. I appreciate that.
All right, so we're going to, when you cut an onion or you cut any kind of vegetable, you always want to make sure that you're using cutting it flat. If you're cutting it on a rocking is where you can get hurt and cut. And you always want to keep your knife nice and sharp so that you don't get cut. And I'm cutting on a small cutting board so that you can see me. I'm doing it on the stove. All right, we're starting to get some steam on our rice. Just a little bit more. So I'm just going to cut this down into half moons. Then I'm going to go all the way to the root so that we don't waste anything. Can you take all those back? Excellent. All right.
This is real multitasking.
Yeah.
You're cooking, you're boiling, you're cutting, and you're mothering.
And he's leaving. Yes, take all of it. Thank you. Be safe driving and let me know when you're there. Yeah. Thank you. It's so weird not having to drive your kids around anymore either. Now they drive me.
Nuts.
All right. Maybe because I have it on the little burner. All right, so now I'm gonna swap things around again. My onions are sliced. I'm gonna use the cast iron. This is just a Lodge cast iron pan. And I'm gonna heat it with a teaspoon and a half of olive oil. All right, Claire, it's starting to steam. You ready to timer? You there?
It's a quarter of.
Ready? 20 minutes. Did she get it?
Quarter of, we all know.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to add my onions. And a quarter teaspoon of salt with these onions.
How high is your
What you're going
flame?
to do is, what's that?
How high is your flame for the onions?
How high is the heat? Is that what you said? Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
medium. My buckwheat's on medium low, my rice is on low, and I have water up here on high for my pasta. So I have all my burners going. And I'm going to cook these down until they get magic up till they look like this. Okay, it's going to take about 20 minutes to do that. So I don't have that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap these out and I'm going to make the dish in this pot, in one pot. So I'm going to swap out my onions. And you want to, when you're caramelizing them, you want to continuously, you want to stir them. So you, not something you can walk away from. You want to put them in the pot and then give them a little turn. And I think that doing them in a regular like saute pan versus the cast iron, I like the cast iron way so much better. It also caramelized them faster, I thought, than in a regular saute pan. So we're going to take these out. They're also very strong, these onions. I don't know if they were older, but I did buy them at, we have an all organic grocery close by here. So all the veggies are organic. The other day, a head of cauliflower was $8.99. I don't know where you guys are, how expensive food is. $8.99 for one head of cauliflower, organic.
You could talk about your garden also.
What's that?
Talk about how you have a garden.
Yes, I was going to run you out there to get some lettuce because I have a winter lettuce out there, just a little bit. And I was going to run out to get some of it to top the tostadas. But I don't know if we'll have time because I'm running out of time. So our onions are in here. We're going to add to this our buckwheat. So we have our buckwheat already cooked, even though it's, let's give this a little look. It's almost there. Buckwheat. So to this dish is going to go our buckwheat. And I'm going to do so half of this container is about 2 cups. About 2 cups. So that was 1 cup of buckwheat made 4 cups. So it's a quart of leftover. And then we're going to wait for our pasta to get done. And we're also going to add some, I wanted to add some greens to it. I have some dandelion green. I'm going to add some cilantro to it. So we're going to set that aside. I'm going to turn that off. Right. Our rice is going. Simmer. And this water. Oh, our water for our pasta is just about there. So I'm going to add about half of that box of this. Now this takes 7 minutes to cook. Hope I'm not confusing. I know we have a lot going on. So these are our grains cooking, our pasta's cooking, our buckwheat and caramelized onions. You're just going to sit and wait until we get the pasta and we'll add the greens. And then I'll show you how to plate that. To the tostado, I'm going to do right on top of here because we have that about ready now. I use these sprouted corn tortillas I get at the organic store. I know right now for season wise here it's winter, so we're not eating as much corn, but since I don't do gluten, these are kind of my favorite go-tos. And what I do is I put them on a sheet tray. Have to and we're going to put our rice on them, but we're going to move our buckwheat because we need to saute a little bit of veg for our tostado. So let's take a look at this. Yep, our buckwheat's done. I'll show you it. You can see, but it's almost like a peel-off style. And then in order to, just to make sure it's done, we just give it a little taste.
You're using a really large pot for a small portion of that. Is that a reason or?
Yeah, because I'm using this pot for pasta. So,
okay, not because it's necessary.
no, it's not necessary to use that big of a pot at all. Yeah. This is a second home, so I don't have a full set of everything here. So yeah, I would do it in this little pot. Although I like to toast it in this big pot because I like it to move around. So to me, toasting it in the little pot would be, I think, a little more difficult. All right, so we're gonna set that aside. I'm gonna get another pan to saute our veggies. All right. So what I have for the veggies is I have some cabbage and some carrot. So I'm gonna put a little oil in this pan. And the olive oil I use is California olive ranch. Let's peek at the rice.
My clock says 11 more minutes.
Okay. Nope, still going. Good.
That pot acts as a pressure cooker because you're only cooking it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but it really is cooking till it gets up till you get that smoke. So it really is probably another 15 on that. Because remember, she didn't start the 20 until we started getting some steam out of here. So bringing it up to that boil is probably 10 or 15 minutes. So in this pan, I'm going to just saute some cabbage. And I'm going to pull some of the onion that I already started. Some onion and some carrot.
Do you hear it sizzling? Because I can't hear it.
It's sizzling.
Oh.
Yep.
And here.
Off the radish. Oh, this pan here sizzling? Yeah, it's very, very faint.
What kind of pan? It's Sarah, or what pan is that?
This one?
Yeah.
This is the caraway, and I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't promote it. This is the second one. The first one, the coating inside scratch, and I have no idea how because I use wooden utensils. They said, oh, it might happen in my sink. So they sent me a new one. And so I'll use it for now, but not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's all non-toxic, they say, but they gave me the whole spiel about, I said, they didn't realize who they were talking to. They gave me this whole thing about toxins, panware and all that. And I'm like, I already know it. But we're going to saute that up. Our pasta should be done. That needs about 3 more minutes. Gluten-free pasta is tricky. So if you overcook it, it gets mushy. If you undercook it, it's hard. It just is, and then if you try to reheat it, it breaks all apart. So it has no structure, of course, because it doesn't have the gluten. Clara, hear the sizzling? No, it is sizzling. All right, so while that's sizzling, we're going to set up our tostadas. I'm going to turn my oven on. I do it about 400. And I'm going to put a little bit of our leftover rice. Actually. I'm gonna mix it first. I'm gonna mix some rice. Some lemon juice, a lime juice. And you can add some cilantro if you want. I'm gonna add the cilantro on the top. And then we're gonna put a nice scoop on each. Yeah, I do this a lot for lunches now too. Because I get such a short lunch at school, I have to have everything pre-made. I mean, 20 minutes to try to make something or even warm it. Most teachers are putting it in a microwave. It's just not healthy when we talk about, we want everybody, you know, school is so big on wellness and, you know, teacher wellness and student wellness, yet they give you 20 minutes to eat your lunch. It's just not enough time. So this is a quick little lunch, light lunch. You can add beans to it if you want to add beans to the rice. So you can have rice and beans on it.
Your noodles,
What's that?
the noodles.
Yep.
I think they would fall out.
Yeah.
No, I think Clara means the noodles are ready.
Yeah, noodle
Oh.
just for lunch. Yeah. Okay, so then we're gonna shut that off. Get everything on this side off. We're going to add our veg on top. Let's see. So again, it's cabbage, the onions, the carrots, salt and some oil. And then this is going to go, now, you have a choice. If you like vegan cheese, you can put vegan cheese over this and then put it in the oven. I try not to eat that stuff, but once in a while it is a nice little treat. So maybe some Dia shreds or Violate shreds on top if you like that. On top of this, and then gonna come out, I'm gonna show you a little dressing for it when it comes out. So just gonna warm that up probably, 10 minutes or so on that. And we're gonna move this over to here.
On a low oven.
I have it on 400.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
not low.
What's that? You can do it at 350 is fine, just a little bit longer. I'm doing it 400 to quick because we're time constrained.
I'll just say that 350 Fahrenheit is about 180 Celsius.
Oh, Celsius. Okay. All right, we're gonna check our pasta, and I'm gonna check the rice. Pasta looks done. Pasta's ready. The rice. How much more minutes, Claire? 4 minutes. Yep,
I couldn't see my screen. 4 more minutes.
4 more minutes. Yep, it has a little water still at the bottom. All right, we're going to rinse our pasta. Or drain our pasta. And normally with traditional pasta, I don't rinse it. I like the starch of the gluten. So I don't rinse it. Now with gluten-free, I'm not gonna be able to stir this a lot because it will break up. So I'm gonna add my noodle to it. Again, traditional pasta will give you a little bit of starch, so any water that's in here, it'll thicken it. And I'm gonna add We're gonna add some cilantro to it, so. Again, I really like, I have some dandelion green, which I think would be really nice in it. I know it's not traditionally in it, but. We're gonna add cilantro. And I have my garnishes ready for my tostada when that comes out. Which, because I'm not melting the cheese, it's not going to take long, aside from just getting that rice warm, and the shell a little bit warm. Sometimes I do the shells on top of the stove because I have the gas and I just brown them on top, especially if they're corn. I use a corn shell like this and cut it in fours, and I put in the oven and just toast it. So I have my own chips. I'll put some salt and lime juice on it, so I don't have to buy pre-made chips. Like that. All right, so I have my plates ready, which I'm gonna plate in. One other thing I wanted to show you was, this is the book I'm currently reading that has a lot of good information. I know a lot of you have all these books already, and it's probably nothing new to you, but I've been going through highlighting important things that I want to remember. And also I keep a macrobiotic notebook where I put my recipes and any notes like from the class that when I listen to the forum in a notebook for review. Because I'm constantly learning it. Even though I was, with Christina Perla in 2005, I never really stuck it fully. This is the first time really since August I've been working on it, and that it's been easier. Maybe because my kids are older and I don't have to worry about making food for them as much anymore, is that I can concentrate on my own food. And the other thing I noticed, and I was just telling somebody this yesterday, was when I eat out, and I love to cook, but when I cook all day at work and then I come home and I'll get a rice bowl out thinking that it's good for me. But I feel horrible after I eat it, even though it's just rice, beans, and all veggies. And it's most likely how they cook the beans or how they cook the rice and what mood the person was in that made my meal. And I feel like I feel it after I eat it. So like yesterday I did have a rice bowl, and hang on a minute, I'll put the dog out.
Or that food was too young for her. She was too young and ate young food.
Time is up for the rice.
Thank you. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm really yin, and I feel like that's what I've been working on for so long is being too yin. In my 40s, I only ate like raw and it has a little more water. You know what? I shut the heat off. I'm going to.
Well, I think I'll postpone that conversation.
Of being too yin.
Yeah, whether you're yin or yang.
All right. So, yep, it's pretty good. I'm going to leave the lid on it so it gets a little more fluffy, but here it is. So I would leave this on for about 5 more minutes, like you would if you were, making it in a pot. You leave the lid on it. So, and that amount that I have in there is the 1 cup was in that container that I had left over. All right. So since we have a few minutes, I'm going to plate this up. So in this round bowl, I'm going to do our buckwheat and onion.
You didn't need a flame tamer under the donabe.
No. I mean, I guess you could. That's it. And then our tostadas are going to come out.
is there an advantage to this donabe pie?
I don't know. I like it. I like the ease of it and the way it cooks the rice, but if you're using pressure cooker and you like that, then I would stick whatever you like. It's just something that I found that he had recommended to me and that I really like it. To me, it's easy. So we're just gonna make our sauce for our tostada, which is you guys can't see that. So for the sauce, we're going to use, I do veganese. I'm gonna add miso to it. I know it's more salt, but it just gives me energy. We're gonna add a little bit of miso. About a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to add lime juice. So this is the dressing for the tostada.
Once again, I missed the beginning. I heard miso, lime. What else was in there?
Miso, and I did the white miso because now I've been using the dark miso. I think it's the red. Because I'm gluten-free, I can't do the barley, which is what I would like to do. So we get Mr. Miso here. So this is the red one, which I really like for the soups now. Although I was using the white, the mellow, I think this is mellow white. But now that it's winter, going to the red.
I missed the basis of that sauce. What did you add the miso
veganese.
to?
So it's veganese.
What? Oh, okay, good.
Veganese.
Mhm.
Veganese, miso, and lime juice. And then you can cut it with water too. I know the miso is not cooked, but I'm not doing it for worrying about the enzymes and doing it more for that salty flavor. Yeah. And then we're gonna drizzle that over our. Then I have some cut up radish. Or first we'll put some cilantro. We'll cut a little more cilantro. Yeah. More cilantro, and then our cut up radish. And to do the matchstick with the radishes, I slice it into discs. And then from the discs, and then it gets to these nice little matchsticks, julienne. They go on top.
Ignorant question, how do you eat it?
All right, so how do I eat it? I fold it because the corn tortilla folds real nice. So it's now like a taco. So then I just eat like, and then I take some of the dipping sauce, and sometimes I'll dip whatever I have extra of the dipping sauce, I'll dip in there. And then whatever falls down, then I eat it with a fork. If it falls out, then I eat it with a fork.
And how do you pack it up to take it with you?
So when I take it with me, I pack it in components. So I have the rice, the tortilla separate, my veg in a separate container, and then my I always have cilantro from the garden at school. We have pick him up. So this little guy you hear yapping is Theo, and he's my rescue pup, and he likes cabbage. Some cabbage. That's onion. Here you go. All right. There you go. And so we have tower gardens at school, so I have fresh cilantro at school that I can get. We have a really nice garden, and I'm really fortunate, and that's why the school had asked me to come work for them. Is I had a garden at the school I was at, the high school I was at, and they saw me speak at a college about school gardens, and they said, if you ever want a job, we're putting a brand new kitchen in, we'd love to have you. So I have a brand new commercial kitchen that's better than any restaurant kitchen I ever worked in. And it's every day I get new equipment from them because they get all this money from grants, and I have thousands of dollars in equipment and stoves. And anyway, so I have a school garden, which the urban farming teacher runs. And they just did an article about our school program in our local local magazine at the shore here about sustainability. And on Thursday, I helped write a grant to get more towers in the classroom. So I really think, and I believe that showing kids where food comes from, they, number one, eat it, they have a hand in it, and then they eat healthier, and that is the end result of it. And my kids do, like, we go out and weed the garden. I tell them it's therapy. And you know, we compost. I have a big 5-gallon bucket. Everything goes in the compost, and it goes out into a big bin out into the courtyard right outside our classroom. So we're really fortunate that we have that classroom, the garden right outside our classroom. We have 2 greenhouses at school, and I wrote a grant last year with my supervisor to get fruit trees. So we're planting fruit trees when they come in.
That's amazing. I noticed you have some herbs on your counter. Each one is a little different. Cilantro never keeps well for me, and basil. Could you
So that goes back in the fridge, and how I normally store it is I don't like to use paper towels, but when class is done, what I'll do is I'll take it in the paper towel like this, and I'll roll it.
Is that cilantro?
This is cilantro. The
You
other,
don't put it in a jar or inside an enclosed container?
no, I never enclose it. What I used to do is put it in a jar like that and put a plastic bag over it in the fridge. That will make it last really long. So you could keep it in I had it in a mason jar. I had it in this jar. So
And you keep water in it?
keep water in it, put the herbs in it, and put a bag over it. Plastic bag. I know we don't get plastic bags anymore. New Jersey's bag free. So they're a hot commodity. So
You could use a kitchen towel or any other kind of material.
something to
instead of-
go over it. You know what you could do? You could get a shower cap and put a shower cap over it.
No, I meant instead of the paper towel, you could use a cloth towel.
Oh yeah, I use a cloth towel sometimes too. Yeah, but for that to keep the moisture in for that, and I do that with my flowers. Like if I get cut flowers for the table, I'll put them in the fridge at night, and they last so much longer, And I just take them out in the next morning. I keep all my veggies in a bin like this, in the produce drawer, and I rotate it, so stuff on the left is older, so I know. When it comes
Christina,
in-
you make this all look so easy. You really know a lot. It's really a pleasure.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
gonna-
The other thing I
I'm
wanted to
gonna-
say, good.
Go ahead.
Buckwheat, if you have leftover buckwheat, for breakfast, I have it with sauerkraut on my way to work.
Oh,
So there's another way to eat leftover grain.
so I'm going to give people a chance to take a 5-minute break after I thank you again. Thank you so much, Christina. It's just
Thank
a
you.
real pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Hope you can follow along. I will send you the recipe so you can send anyone who would like them the recipe.
Will
Thank
do.
you
It was
so much.
wonderful. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
Thank you. Christine.